Hello again. Before I start, one thing I realized is that I didn't properly introduce myself. What is, get out of my way. The webcam controller program. I didn't properly introduce myself, so let me change that. It's just people already know me on the website and on the YouTube channel, so I didn't think of it. But hello, I am Troy Ackerman, pen name Troy A, screen name Shadowwing-tronics. I've been doing VW Media Spotlight since 2008. I've been doing my comic strip Jake and Leon since 2009, and I've been doing video work since 2010. So here's my idea where I'm coming from, and I need this. Okay, sorry. So, what from Filmation is inspiring me in comics? Filmation is, of course, now defunct animation studio, and the three founders sadly passed away the last last few years. And Filmation is something that some of you younger people out there I know have made comments on. I know in the reviewing community, my reviewing friends, I only know one other person who likes Filmation. I don't know about in the comic community. I know Jersey and I are both big fans, but I don't know what the rest of you think. But in the reviewing circles, my old reviewers, Unknown Boss, Ozzy Arcane, and I are pretty much it. Maybe there's some others out there, but those are the only two I've ever heard say anything nice about Filmation is Ozzy and myself. But Filmation gets slammed because, yeah, their animation is not high quality stuff. They definitely worked on the cheap. And so there were some shows or episodes that would have really great animation, and some were they would have kind of a it was just a lot of stock footage reuse. They definitely reused the same rotoscopes, and then they had this thing where I always called the Filmation walk. Let me see if I can demonstrate it. Actually, let me. Since I'm setting down the visual aid for Captain Marvel, because no, I don't care what DC calls him. This is Captain Marvel. Screw you, Marvel Comics. Call Terrell Danvers Warbird. It was a better name anyway. You don't know how to use the name on a character that works. Just make this Captain Marvel again, and let us all be happy. But this was kind of the Filmation walk. They would walk in it. They would walk into the panel, maybe look, and then come like this. That was I call that the Filmation walk. That was the way they would walk in the panel quite a bit. Or they would just stop, look around, and then continue forward that way. He actually had two Filmation shows, one live action, one animated. So perfect test example. Thank you, Billy. But okay, so yeah, Filmation, when it comes to the actual animation, was not the best. I will totally admit that. It's everything else they did that people should look at, though. The writing, the effects, and the character models. These are the three things that I'm going to be discussing primarily. The writing is something that, I would like to emulate. Especially the two shows I'm probably going to use most for my examples are the original Flash Gordon and Brave Star. Probably two of their best works. I mean, everybody talks about He-Man, the Master Universe, and to a lesser extent, She-Ra. But Flash Gordon and Brave Star were probably some of their best work. It was had some of their best writing. It had some of their best effects, and they really came up with some really interesting designs for aliens and monsters and stuff. That's one of the things Filmation like Filmation and Hanna-Barbera could really had some good monster designers on their staff. You don't believe me? Go watch the Godzilla cartoon. Look at some of the monsters they created for Godzilla to fight. There's really good ideas. Or even just go back to watch some of their other shows, like Space Ghost or Samson Goliath or Minotaur or something like that. They can design monsters, and Filmation can design monsters. Lou Scheimer, in his book that I need to get back to reading, Building the Filmation Generation, he talked about how when he came to America, he was inspired by American comic strips, and you had some really interesting artwork coming through in comic strips back then. And he was mostly inspired by Flash Gordon. So add that to the list of people who were inspired by Flash Gordon, along with guys like George Lucas. But they had some great character models. Some of their, they had some really good artists because they came from comics that had some really good art. So they had good art design. And I'd love to be able to draw at that level, but I think probably some of my art not counting Jake and Leon, that got inspired by things like The Simpsons or some stuff about my friend Luke Foster. I wonder what he's up to. I haven't talked to him in a while. But that was from my inspiration there. But comes some of my other stuff. A lot of my inspiration and my style comes from Ruby Spears. But there's also some good stuff in Filmation too. But what I would really love to be able to emulate, what I wish I could totally emulate from Filmation, is their writing and their special effects, especially the effects. Like I said, go watch Brave Star, go watch Flash Gordon. The effects on those two shows are incredible. Their laser effects, the way they use the rotoscoping, the ship designs, and the way they look. It's just, I like the lighting effects on their lasers. If you looked at Ming the Merciless's big giant veil that Ming had in his throne room in season 1, it's the same effect that they sometimes use for portals on He-Man and She-Ra. So if you've seen those, you still have some idea what I'm talking about. And the portal effects on those two shows. I mean, I would love to be able to make lasers that look that cool, and portals that look that really look like they're breaking time and space. I guess I could probably mimic the rotoscope to a point, since I'm using Clip Studio Paint and digital art, and Clip Studio has those those on-screen mannequin things, which is better than the wood one I have there, as much as I like using it, or even using action figures. Sometimes I use action figures for poses. But their energy effects are fantastic. That's something that I tried to work on, is laser and magic effects, and making them look cool, making them kind of stand out a bit from the art, but still look like it's part of the art. I was using, even since the old notebook days, when I was using, I wanted to use lasers or energy, I would go grab magic markers instead of coloring pencils and do the effects that way. But now, some of the tools that Clip Studio offers, or even some of the stuff in PaintShop Photo Pro, the other program that I use, I try to make interesting effects there. It's something that I'm working on. I'm not so good with shading. I'm getting a little better with shading, but I'm also getting a lot better with lighting. And as far as, not so much the glow, but how a glow lights up the skin or anything, but like how it's doing the sun's doing on my face now. But something more like how the laser light itself looks. And that's something that I'm working on. I would love to be able to imitate those portal effects and laser effects and magic effects. it's just really incredible. And that was pre-computer too. So you wonder if they were using techniques similar to live action shows for those. Although the lasers were done hand drawn on those shows anyway, so who knows? But I would love to be able to imitate those effects, to be able to replicate that in my work somehow. And the other thing, Filmation has some of the best writing. Again, going to Brave Star and Filmation within the limits of a kids show and a Saturday morning kids show, and there is a difference. Someday I'll tell you about that. But there is a difference between these. But these were shows that give you a lot of action. They took chances because He-Man and She-Ra were kind of designed primarily. The stories were written with the moral of the day in mind. Brave Star still did that to a point, but I think it merged a little better, so that it mingled with the theme a little better. But I still enjoyed it when He-Man and She-Ra did it. But I think Brave Star kind of mingled it in a little better. But Flash Gordon didn't have more of the day stories. They were strictly, the first season was a serialized action thing, and season 2 was standalone because NBC marketing completely screwed up Flash Gordon. Discussion for another time. But their writing is really good. You get the sense, you get this really suspenseful moments. One of my favorite Brave Star episodes is one where Brave Star's mentor, his old mentor, was all about who had actually committed murder. And then this is a kid show. I wrote an article about those ones. This is a kid show, but Brave Star's mentor murders somebody, and we see the murder happen. When we don't see the body or anything, he just kind of points a gun and shoots, and it's over a lame thing. Check this episode out. I wish I remember. What's the name of it was? I always get the name wrong, so I got to double check. It doesn't say. I think it's Fallen Hero. The character's name is Jingles. Look for it. We'll see it. It's the official Brave Star channel that DreamWorks is running just recently posted it, and it is really a good episode. There's just one scene where Brave Star is sitting there, and he's just waiting until it's time to confront Jingles and bring him in. And it's a special scene. You wonder what's going through Brave Star's mind. Is he going, is he thinking, how do I beat this guy? He was my hero, my mentor. He's the guy who trained me. Can I beat him? Or is he thinking, this was my hero, this was the guy who made me who I am today, and then he commits murder for the lamest reasons? Could this be me someday? Because throughout the story, Fuzz is trying to tell Brave Star that he's still his hero. But, you just heard your hero committed a horrible crime. And it's really a great episode. And Flash Garden, there's a lot of great season 1. I love season 1. It's a cool serialized story. So these are the kind of things that I took from Filmation I want to do in my work. The energy effects, be they scientific, magical, or technological. The writing and the character models, being able to draw at that level in my own style, mind you. Like I said, it pulls a little more from Ruby Spears than it does Filmation. But these are the kind of things I would love to be able to do in my work. So, I think you can be inspired by animation. One of Jersey's friends, Kevin Cross, has been talking about how he's doing work based on some of the cartoons, some of the theatrical shorts from the, I think, 50s. I want to say API, but I don't think that's the right name for the studio. They did Popeye for a while. They did the Popeye where olive oil is kind of manipulative little. I won't get into that. And they did some of the Warner, and they also, I think, distributed some of the Warner Brothers stuff too, a few other cartoons. They did good work though. So, and then you look at like 2 of the video games that came out, Cuphead and Bendy and the Ink Machine, both inspired by the 20s and 30s artwork, the comic cartoon with the weird rubber bendables, rubber hose art style and everything else. And you can be inspired by the past. You can be inspired by animation to make good standalone comics. So it's really something to figure out. And so hopefully someday I can be able to pull off some of the stuff like they can, but we'll see what happens. I think I've rambled enough. If you want to check out some of my written ramblings, you can go to bwspotlight.com. If you want to check out who else is taking part in the Art Soundoff Challenge, then you can go to twitter.com and look for the Art Soundoff hashtag or the Art Soundoff Twitter page. And if you want to take part yourself, check out artsoundoff.com or leantoart.com/artsoundoff and learn some stuff there. But that's enough for me today. I don't know if I'll do one tomorrow. I'm kind of torn about it because I'm going to lose some time when it's time to get this taken care of. But at the same time, I usually like to have my weekends to work on other things, like I want to get started on this year's Captain Yuletide. So until then, I wish you all happy creating.